you guys being here. Wrapping up practice number 3 for the bye week. Doing a lot of work, getting after a lot of different situations, scenarios, and personnel groupings. So, open to questions.
How is Joe Moorhead?
Joe's getting better. Joe is in Eugene, and he's recovering. And our prayers and thoughts are with him, and our support is with him as well. So we're glad that he's finally home and getting better.
Is there a timetable
personnel-wise to kind of account for his absence from the staff while you're practicing?
Yeah, well, Nate, Costa, being here, being a quarterback, and having worked with the quarterbacks, you could make those moves through compliance to absorb that. And Nate's super bright mind and an excellent football coach as well, so that certainly has helped out a lot.
Will Jim continue to call the plays while Joe's out?
Well, if Joe is out, that'll be the scenario, yes, sir. Now, when we do call it, obviously everything we do, we collaborate. We do it collectively, as we did with Joe was here as well. So the system is a system. We're not going to change systems.
The severity of CJ's injury?
CJ will be done for the year.
Is there any initial thought of just his thought of what happens after the season in the future?
It's too early. There'll be some conversations about that. CJ is he's such a good player. He was really having his most physical game, I think. The way he was running, he was really getting downhill, running behind his pads. And unfortunately, got it was a low tackle, legal tackle. Nothing wrong with the tackle, but certainly suffered an injury, and so he'll be done for the year.
There's some guys who either have missed time or just missed this past weekend, Mario, so I realize there's quite a few names.
Sure. Well, Bennett will be done for the year as well. Who else missed time? Swinson looks good. Swinson, we feel he'll be completely ready to go this next week. He practiced with us this week, and he looks really good. Ajax looks good. Practiced with us as well.
Damon?
Practiced with us as well. Looks really good. He practiced last week. He was borderline ready for last game. At the last second, we felt that he wasn't quite there. The bye week has done him well. He'll be full speed.
Dawson
will be full.
Kingsley
will be full.
Dennis
is done. Dennis is done for the year.
Logan
will be a while before he's back.
Jaden Abbott?
Still a little while.
Jalen Smith?
He is practicing, but going to be a little bit.
Sean Dollars?
Going to be a while.
So, but you hold out hope because of he already redshirted that he could theoretically play for you at any time.
Yeah, there's certain guys. Let's see, like a Jackson LeDuc and a Sean Dollars. Your best case scenario is mid-November, late November, but that's not a guarantee. It's gonna. When you have an injury as serious as those, you just want to make sure that when they do come back, that they're fully healthy to continue playing healthy.
And Drew,
with Burdell out, do you want to use Travis primarily, or do you want to have another running back to kind of fill that 2-tandem rotation that you guys have used at running back?
I think you want to play a hot hand. Travis is a workhorse too, and he has proven that in a lot of different ways. And Trey's coming off of an injury last year. He looks really good. Cardwell is going to be a good player. We all know Seven's a really good player. Got Cross Patton, Aaron Smith. You got some guys that really worked hard and are ready for an opportunity. And I think that we've adopted that mentality and that philosophy from the get-go. And guys have done a really good job stepping up and filling in for guys that have been injured and have missed time. And this situation will be very much like that.
Master's always said it's kind of the hot hand among those 3 freshmen, behind CJ and Travis. Could that be the case, just week in, week out situational type deals?
CJ and Travis have worked themselves into being complete backs. They can run inside, outside zone, pin and pull, the gap schemes, protection, screens, the empty stuff. They do it all really well. When you're a young back, you do some things naturally well, and then you continue to improve on some other things. Those guys are improving themselves at being really good all-around backs. They're explosive football players. They're hard workers. They're very resilient. We get after them really hard, and they've responded really well. So we have faith that they're going to be really good and help us win games.
If Jim's still calling the plays, will he still also be able to call the running back rotation too in game? I mean, that's just a lot in the course of a play-to-play.
No, we'll have someone else assign to that. We have enough staff members where there's an assignment for each position group and assign a go-to person, and so we'll be able to handle it.
Coach, I know you want to look forward, but just a question on one play. On the last drive in regulation, the pass was incomplete. Did Anthony Brown have the option, because Jalen Red was in the fly sweep, to hand that ball off, or was it totally designed for the pass? And then one other thing, Ryan Walk, it looked like he was assigned to hit the defensive end.
Which play? Which play? Are you talking about
Incomplete.
before the half, or are you
No,
talking
at the
about
end of
at the end of regulation?
the incomplete pass.
Was it designed to what? I'm sorry.
Jalen Red was like in a fly sweep motion.
Right.
Was there an option for Anthony Brown to hand that to him?
That is not an option to have.
Not an option
Not
on
on
that
that
play?
particular play. We do have a play where he is part of that as well.
And the
But down to
defensive
the
end was
distance,
in-
it was too much for it to be a hand, at least in our guesstimation.
Excuse me. And the defensive
No
end was in the face of Anthony Brown. And I looked at it. Ryan Walk had to come all the way over because the guard and tackle were pulling left. Was that designed that way, or can you remember whether that was true?
Yeah, I think there's a couple different plays we're talking about here, but there was, from a play design standpoint, I mean, the guys did execute or try to execute their assignment, so there wasn't any mental bust. Execution certainly wasn't what it needed to be.
How do you evaluate, after these 5 games, Mario, the quarterback position and just how Anthony has performed and what competition there may or may not be there right now?
Sure. Well, he's had some really good moments, some other moments where we need to improve upon, they'd like to have back. But he certainly gives us the best chance to win. And he's done enough in practice, and he's done enough in games. I think a lot of times, when you have a game like this and things don't go well, it pours on people, but we don't do that. We believe our eyes, we work at it, we improve, we don't blind ourselves. Everything is always competition in practice, but Anthony has shown a lot, and he's done a really good job in a lot of different ways, and he's going to improve and he's going to get better.
Certainly when he was here a year ago, he was an experienced hand as a backup. You have 3 freshmen by comparison. But statistically, he is behind what Tyler was a year ago, and you guys look to make a change. Why, if it was not necessarily sufficient or satisfactory a year ago, is what Anthony is doing now put you in the best position to win?
Well, I think if you look at our games earlier this year, I think you'll see enough plays being made, leadership. You'll see him complete drives, and I guess you guys were there in Columbus, so I guess the rest, you can put it all together and realize that right now gives us the best chance to win. And I'm not going to publicly ever turn on a player or be negative about a player. We know what we grade, we know what we see, we know the issues, we know what has to get better, and we forge forward. But we don't play the blame game, we don't play the BS masquerade head faking game. We just get to work, and that's what we got to do.
You don't see practice, so we can't understand what he's like in practice. What does he do better than the other guys behind him? I'm not trying to say that as a negative way, but how would you express his level of play at quarterback that puts him where he's the guy?
It's been really good. It starts and ends with how you run the offense, and by running it, it's everything. It's making sure that we understand what the play is, whether it be a run, pass, the protection that goes with it, the route structure that goes with it, what determines who gets the ball, where his eyes got to go. If something does break down, where his outlets were, his check down. So every part of it, to be a quarterback, you have to understand it just like a coach does, and he does. And the young guys are doing a really good job too, so I don't want to take away from them, but he's done a really good job with that stuff, and he knows, and we know the areas that we all have to improve upon. And as coaches, we got to take it upon ourselves to make our players and give our players the best chance to perform better.
Not to use it as an excuse, but Joe not being available, how much does that factor in of helping Anthony and helping this offense perform better?
You guys know. I'm never going to come up here and say we didn't have Alex and we didn't have blah, and I really don't care. At the end of the day, the ball's placed on the team, you go play. Does it affect them? Unfortunately, that's a narrative that I'm never going to take. That's something that you guys, as you do your things, you got to figure how you think that affects a guy. But I'm never going to speak on excuses. I'm not going to lean on rationalization. We're just going to go. We're going to work our butts off and get it done.
On that final possession of regulation, some of the snaps were early by way of the play clock. The preceding 4 games, even last year, you guys have done really excellent at that in terms of killing the clock as much as possible. Anything that could have been done differently, either coaching-wise or quarterback-wise, on that last possession before the back-to-back false starts?
No, well, remember, we got that ball. We started the drive with almost 7 minutes.
Yeah.
7 minutes. we don't believe you go in a 4-minute offense. When we started churning out first downs, when we started milking it, and that was at about at the 4-minute mark, maybe a little bit above. The snaps were at 2 seconds. Okay, and so we felt that we could keep doing that. When we got in 1st and 20, we're trying to get a chunk back to be able to at least put ourselves in a situation where, okay, it's either 3rd and manageable and we could do it and throw the ball, and it would be worth the risk, so they don't have to. So if we don't make it, and they don't have to use a timeout, the risk was worth it, or get ourselves within 4th and doable, or we could take a chance and not worry about bringing on the punt team. So that's what we were trying to do on the we tried the bootleg, where we're trying to get the ball to 7 in the flat. We thought we had a matchup there and in the boundary that you had enough room there to make some yards. But in terms of itself, I mean, we did everything like we felt would win the football game. We're getting first downs, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. You need 1 first down, and we didn't get it. But I think we ran 5 minutes plus out the clock. But you guys had those statistics.
Yeah.
Against Stanford, Anthony only threw the ball 20-plus yards downfield 1 time. Do you trust him to push the ball down the field?
Yes.
Coach, wonder if you could humor me here, because I've been hearing from a lot of fans the last few days. Stanford's last drive, KT gets the targeting. I've heard from people who thought he got pushed into the quarterback. It was a roughing. A couple flags on Stanford. People think they see video that flags should have been thrown that weren't, and then Mikel, standing his ground, looks like in the end zone, gets called for holding. Is there recourse for that? Do you just have to swallow that? What's the response to that?
What do you guys think?
Fair enough.
Where can I go? Where can I go with that and be productive at this point in time? You guys saw the game. Critical moments in the game, situations and results that really affected the game. So I'm going to stay along the lines of what I've told our players. We're moving on. We're moving on. It is what it is. I'll go with what Jimmy Johnson told us back in '88 before we went to play Notre Dame. Leave no doubt. Don't put in the hands of anything or anyone else. Leave no doubt.
In terms whether it's those 3 plays or otherwise, penalties were obviously an issue and were and have been so far. How do you guys go about correcting it? Because that has not been characteristic of your tenure, but this is obviously a tough 5-game stretch of penalties.
Yeah, especially the last drive. So got to correct it. Got to work at it.